Have you ever wondered why some people seem to build wealth steadily, even with no special advantages, while others stay stuck no matter how hard they work? It's not about luck. It's not about having rich parents. And it's definitely not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about following the right rules and refusing to break them. Because wealth isn't built in sudden explosions. It's built in quiet, often invisible decisions made consistently by people who understand how the game really works. And what you're about to see are 7 rules that anyone can apply, especially if you're starting from zero. This isn't theory. These are patterns, habits, unbreakable disciplines used by people who went from nothing to freedom. Not by copying influencers, not by chasing trends, but by mastering what most people ignore. And here's the truth most never hear. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You don't need a huge income. You need control over what you already have. You don't need more time. You need better focus. But most people don't follow these rules. They get caught in loops. Earn, spend, repeat. Try, quit, start over. Learn, procrastinate, forget. They confuse movement with progress, urgency with importance, and noise with wisdom. But those who break the cycle, they don't do it through hacks. They do it through these 7 core principles applied over time. And the last one, it's the hardest, because it asks for something most people hate to give: patience. But without it, everything else falls apart. So if you're serious about building wealth, not just chasing it, you're in the right place. Whether you're starting broke, burned out, overwhelmed, or just late in the game, these rules apply. And the earlier you commit to them, the faster you start to feel the shift. So let's begin this the right way. Subscribe now, not for the algorithm, but for yourself, as a commitment. Because every builder needs a blueprint. And that starts with showing up, right here, right now. The first rule for building wealth from zero is simple, but fundamental. Stop thinking like a spender. Start thinking like a builder. You don't need more money to change your financial future. You need to change your role in the story. Because if you always think like a consumer, someone who spends, reacts, and survives, then even when money comes, it leaves. Let's make this clear. You don't get rich by earning. You get rich by building. And building requires a different mindset. A builder doesn't just ask, "What can I afford right now?" They ask, "What am I creating over time?" A spender sees money as fuel for lifestyle. A builder sees money as fuel for leverage. It starts small. The spender gets paid and immediately looks for where that money will go. The builder gets paid and immediately looks for what that money can build. Same income, same bills, different questions, different results. You don't have to be wealthy to think like a builder, but you'll never become wealthy if you don't. Here's the shift. A spender's first instinct is comfort. A builder's first instinct is capacity. A spender wants more things. A builder wants more options. A spender looks for upgrades. A builder looks for assets. One is playing the short game. The other is setting foundations. Let's look at a real-world example. 2 people start with the same salary. Let's say $2,500 a month. The spender immediately upgrades their apartment, buys a new phone, takes a small trip. They're not reckless, just living how everyone else does. But at the end of the month, nothing left. The builder, on the other hand, resists the urge to inflate. They live just a bit under what they could. They start tracking expenses. They set aside $200 monthly, and instead of letting it sit, they use it to learn a skill. Design, copywriting, project management, something the market values. Fast forward 2 years. The spender is still at the same income level, maybe slightly higher. The builder now earns double, maybe triple, because the skill they built increased their value. That's not theory. That's leverage. And it begins with choosing not to act like everyone else, especially when it feels most tempting. Thinking like a builder means being intentional. It means asking, what am I building this month? What part of my foundation am I strengthening? Where am I investing my attention and energy? It's not always flashy. It's not always fun, but it's always forward. And if you think this means living miserably or depriving yourself, you've missed the point. Builders don't avoid spending. They prioritize investing. They delay dopamine, not deny it. They trade short-term validation for long-term transformation. Because here's the deeper truth. The more you spend just to feel something, the more empty your progress will be. But when you spend with intention, every dollar has a job. Some build income, some build skills, some build peace. Nothing is wasted. Let's get practical. To shift from spender to builder, start with these 3 questions. What do I usually buy impulsively and why? Recognize the pattern. Emotional spending isn't about needs, it's about relief. Builders pause before reacting. What skill or asset could I build with just 5% of my monthly income? You don't need a fortune, just consistency. One small course, one tool, one habit, repeated. What would my life look like if I chose to build instead of consume for 12 months? Project the future. Feel it. Visualize who you become. That's your real target. Because at the end of the day, you're not here just to survive. You're here to create, to stack bricks, to shift your identity from someone who spends to someone who builds value and owns outcomes. Let others chase comfort. You chase capacity. Let them consume. You construct. The spender lives on cycles. The builder lives on systems. And the moment you make that shift, even if your income stays the same, your power multiplies. The second rule for building wealth from zero is this. Don't wait to be ready. Start where you are. Because if you wait to feel prepared, you'll be waiting forever. Let's be honest. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, potential, or resources. They fail because they're always getting ready, studying a little more, thinking it through one more time, waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the reality. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Not in business, not in finance, not in life. There's always going to be something that makes you feel like it's not the right time. Not enough money, not enough knowledge, not enough confidence, not enough support. But none of those things magically appear while you wait. They appear while you move. Imagine this. You're standing at a train station. You keep telling yourself, I'll get on when it's the perfect train, clean, comfortable, guaranteed to take me exactly where I want to go. But that train never comes. Instead, dozens of imperfect trains pass by. Some are a little messy. Some are crowded. Some are unfamiliar. And while you're waiting, others are getting on, learning as they ride, switching tracks when needed. But they're moving forward. Meanwhile, you're still standing there, holding a ticket to nowhere. That's what waiting to feel ready does. It gives you the illusion of safety, but costs you your future. Let's bring this into the world of wealth. You want to start building a side hustle, but you tell yourself, I'll begin when I've saved $5,000. You want to invest, but say, I need to understand everything about the market first. You want to build a skill, but keep saying, maybe next month when things settle down. But there's always a reason to delay. And here's the twist. Even when you do finally feel ready, starting will still feel uncomfortable. Because readiness isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move anyway. Every wealthy person who started from nothing has this in common. They didn't wait for clarity. They built it through action. They didn't wait to be certain. They took calculated steps and adjusted as they learned. They knew that messy beginnings are part of clean outcomes. Let's reframe the narrative. You don't need full confidence. You need enough courage to take the next step. You don't need a master plan. You need motion. Because motion creates clarity, not the other way around. Here's what usually happens. Someone waits until they've read every book, watched every video, taken 3 more courses. They feel smarter, but still stuck. Why? Because knowledge without execution becomes mental clutter. It tricks you into believing you're progressing, when in reality, you're circling the same point. So how do you shift? Start small, but start today. Don't build the perfect business. Make your first offer. Don't wait to invest $10,000. Invest $10. Don't wait for a new job to practice discipline. Master it with your current one. And don't underestimate this truth. You don't need a big step. You need a real one. That single step, however small, breaks inertia. And once inertia is broken, momentum can be built. Practical action. Ask yourself, what's one thing I've been putting off because I don't feel ready? Then ask, what's the smallest version of that thing I could do right now? If you keep delaying your life until you feel completely ready, you'll look back in 10 years with clarity and regret. Because time doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. But progress doesn't need permission. And here's the most empowering part. You don't need to feel ready to be ready. You just need to trust that you'll figure it out on the way, because you will. Let others keep studying the map. You start walking. Let them keep preparing. You start creating. Because those who win, they didn't wait for the moment to be perfect. They decided that the moment they had was enough. The third rule for building wealth from zero is this. Protect your focus like it's money, because it is. Most people think wealth starts with earning more. But in reality, wealth starts with protecting the invisible currency that fuels every result you want: your attention. Focus isn't just a productivity tip. It's a financial strategy. Why? Because your attention determines your direction, and your direction determines your outcomes. Let me explain with an image. Imagine your mind as a high-powered flashlight in a pitch-black room. Where you shine it, that's what grows. Shine it on a business idea, and it starts to develop. Shine it on learning a new skill, and it expands. But scatter that light across 20 different things, and none of them get enough energy to survive. This is what most people do. They don't spend their focus, they leak it. 100 tabs open, 1,000 voices online, 10 goals at once, and no real progress. Here's the brutal truth. You're not tired because you work too hard. You're tired because you're trying to go in too many directions at once. The wealthiest people in the world aren't the busiest. They're the most focused. They protect their attention the way most people protect their bank accounts. And if you're starting from zero, your attention is even more valuable because it's your main resource. You don't have extra capital. You don't have a team. You have time and focus. That's your startup fund. But most people waste it on low-return distractions. Arguing online. Consuming content they'll forget tomorrow. Switching from one project to another. Constantly seeking new strategies, but never implementing one fully. They confuse stimulation with progress. And in that noise, they lose weeks, months, sometimes years. Let's look at how this affects your wealth-building journey. Say you want to learn a high-income skill like copywriting. It takes focus, deep focus, to write well, understand persuasion, and practice consistently. But if you can only focus for 20 minutes before checking your phone, you'll take 10 times longer to improve. Now imagine the person who protects their focus like gold. Phone on silent. One browser tab open. 1 hour of deep work per day, no distractions. In 3 months, they're offering freelance services. In 6 months, they're earning on the side. In 1 year, they've built an entirely new income stream. Same starting point. Different discipline. So how do you protect your focus? Here are 3 principles that work. Eliminate low-value inputs. Unfollow accounts that don't serve your direction. Limit conversations that drain your energy. Every input is an influence. Create invisible boundaries. Use tools to block distracting websites. Work in 60-minute deep focus blocks. Put your phone in another room if needed. Make it hard to be distracted and easy to stay in flow. Have a visible goal. Place your main objective somewhere you can see it daily. Not just in your mind, on your wall, your desk, your mirror. When your goal is visible, distractions become easier to say no to. Because here's the truth that most people ignore. What you focus on, you fund. Even with no money, your attention feeds something. So ask yourself, is what I'm focusing on today building anything real? If not, it's time to redirect that energy. And remember, focus is not about saying yes to one thing. It's about saying no to 99 other things. It's uncomfortable. It feels like you're missing out. But that discomfort is proof you're finally choosing. And in a world that profits from your distraction, choosing to focus is an act of wealth creation. Now I want to hear from you. What's the biggest distraction that's been stealing your focus lately? And what's one thing you can do this week to reduce it? Drop it in the comments. Your awareness might help someone else too. Let's build a community that protects what truly matters. If you want to build wealth from zero, there's one principle you cannot skip. You must become valuable. Not popular, not busy, not smart looking. Valuable. Because money follows value. Not effort, not dreams, not potential, just value. And the market doesn't pay you for who you are. It pays you for what you can do that others can't. That means if you want to rise, you must build a skill the market wants and can't easily replace. Here's the truth. Most people stay broke not because they're lazy, but because they're replaceable. They know a little about a lot. They kind of understand design. They've dabbled in marketing. They've posted a few videos, but they haven't committed to mastering anything. So when opportunities come up, they get overlooked. When competition increases, they get underpaid. And when businesses need real results, they get skipped because they never made themselves rare. The opposite is true for people who master a valuable skill. When they enter the room, people lean in. When they apply for work, they stand out. When they charge, they don't justify. They've become an asset, not an expense. But here's what's important. You don't need 10 skills. You need one skill that solves a painful problem. Let's break it down. Start by identifying 3 things. What do you naturally enjoy doing for hours? What do people struggle with that you could learn to solve? What are companies or individuals currently paying for? When you find the intersection between these, you've found your skill lane. For example, if you enjoy writing and businesses need more customers, learn copywriting. If you enjoy video content and creators need editors, learn video editing. If you enjoy solving problems and brands need better systems, learn automation or coding. If you enjoy communication and business owners are overwhelmed, learn client onboarding or virtual assistants. Now let's talk strategy. Don't aim to become average at 5 things. Aim to become world-class at 1. World-class doesn't mean famous. It means trusted, efficient, consistent, able to deliver results that stand out. But what about the fear of starting small? It's real. In the beginning, your work won't be great. Your first attempts will be shaky. People may doubt you. You'll probably doubt yourself. But every master was once a beginner with bad results and stubborn commitment. So be stubborn and start. Even with free work at first. Even when you feel behind. Even when no one's watching. Because your skill compounds. The more you learn, the faster you get. The faster you get, the more you earn. The more you earn, the more selective you can be. And one day, the skill you learned when you had nothing will give you options you never imagined. Here's a practical roadmap. Pick one skill that solves a painful problem. Research forums, YouTube comments, Reddit threads, and job boards to see what people complain about or need help with. Commit to one learning resource at a time. Avoid jumping between 5 courses. Choose one and go deep. Set a 90-day focus window. For 90 days, commit to practicing and improving every week. Track progress. Document your work. Start a portfolio, even if it's just on a Google Drive or Notion page. Show proof, not promises. Reach out and offer help. Don't wait for clients. Message small businesses, freelancers, or creators and offer to solve a specific problem. Level up continuously. The skill that gets you started is not the skill that will take you to the top. Keep sharpening it. One skill changed my life. And it wasn't luck. It was leverage. Once you become good at something useful, people need you. They look for you. They pay you. You stop chasing and start choosing. And there's something else that happens too. You stop seeing yourself as trying to make money and start seeing yourself as someone who creates value. And that identity shift is the beginning of real wealth. When you solve real problems, you'll never need to beg for attention. You'll never need to fake success. And you'll never worry about job security again. Because your security isn't in a job. It's in your ability. And you own that. Next, we'll talk about a critical principle that most people ignore, and that secretly drains their time, energy, and money. This rule sounds simple. Too simple. So simple, in fact, that most people ignore it. But here's the truth. If you don't learn to live below your means, you'll never build real wealth. You'll make money. You'll feel successful. But you won't grow. You'll run faster just to stay in place. Living below your means is not about being cheap. It's about being free. Let's get clear on the principle. Wealth is not what you earn. Wealth is what you keep and grow. Imagine two people. Person A earns $10,000 a month and spends $9,800. Person B earns $4,000 a month and spends $2,500. Who is wealthier? Not the one with the bigger paycheck. It's the one with the bigger margin. Because margin is where freedom lives. Margin is what funds investment. Margin is what protects you in crisis. Margin is what gives you leverage. But most people live in reverse. They expand their lifestyle every time their income grows. They get a raise and upgrade their car. They earn more and move to a more expensive apartment. They hit a financial goal and celebrate with a vacation they can't truly afford. This is what keeps the middle class stuck. No matter how hard they work, they can't out-earn their spending habits. This is why the golden rule is this. Build the habit of living on less now, even when it's hard. So that when you earn more later, you already know how to multiply it. If you start wealth building with the mindset of a spender, you'll sabotage yourself. If you start with the mindset of a builder, you'll expand without limits. Now let's go deeper. Why do people overspend? It's not because they're irresponsible. It's because they're chasing something emotional through material things. A sense of status, a feeling of safety, a way to prove they've made it. A quick hit of pleasure after burnout. But none of those things last. And over time, they rob you of the very future you're trying to create. So, how do you shift? Here are 5 principles that work. Create a spending threshold. Decide on a fixed lifestyle baseline and don't increase it with every raise. Let your income grow. Let your spending stay. Fall in love with simplicity. You don't need 12 subscriptions, daily takeout, and the latest gadgets. You need clarity, stability, and flexibility. Automate your wealth building habits. The moment money hits your account, direct a percentage towards savings, investments, or a business fund. This way, you're not tempted to spend what you've already allocated to your future. Measure value, not price. Some expensive things are worth it. Some cheap things are liabilities. Learn to evaluate based on return, not cost. Design your identity around discipline, not display. You're not here to impress. You're here to build. Every time you resist the urge to buy something just to feel better, you're reinforcing a new self-image. Someone who values freedom over status. Let's be honest. Living below your means in today's culture is radical. You'll see your friends post new outfits, cars, vacations. You'll feel behind. You'll question your choices. But here's what they won't post. Their credit card balance. The anxiety they feel every night. The sinking feeling of having no cushion, no backup, no real wealth. And here's what you will feel. The peace of knowing you're not one paycheck away from panic. The strength of watching your assets grow while others chase dopamine. The quiet power of being in control of your future. It's not glamorous, but it's foundational. And you can't build lasting wealth on a shaky foundation. You build it on discipline, on self-awareness, on living like your future matters more than your weekend plans. Here's something to remember. Living below your means is not about what you're giving up. It's about what you're making possible, because every dollar you don't waste becomes a seed for a business you'll start, a property you'll own, an investment that pays you forever. A future where work becomes a choice, not a requirement. And that's the goal. Freedom, not appearance, not luxury, not image. Real wealth is invisible at first, because it's being built, not bought. Let the world chase symbols. You build substance. Most people think money is logical, but wealth isn't built by logic alone. It's built by emotional control. You can have the perfect strategy, the right habits, the best timing. But if you can't manage your reactions, your fear, your doubt, your insecurity, your impatience, you'll sabotage it all. Because money doesn't respond to emotion, but it is affected by your emotional decisions. Let's start with the obvious. We don't live in a rational world. We live in an impulsive one. You'll see someone make $500 and blow it in a weekend. You'll see someone lose $200 in crypto and panic sell everything. You'll see someone post their first video, get no views, and quit their entire content strategy. What happened? They didn't lose opportunity. They lost emotional control. When you're building wealth from zero, this becomes even more dangerous. You don't have a cushion. You don't have backups. You only have your mind and how well you can use it. If you panic every time things go wrong, you'll never build stability. If you chase every shiny shortcut when things feel slow, you'll never build momentum. If you react emotionally to every dip, delay, or disappointment, you'll build chaos, not wealth. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your emotions don't care about your goals. They care about your comfort. That's why wealth feels so hard to build. Because the emotional path of least resistance is always the opposite of what you need to do. Discipline feels restrictive, so you procrastinate. Long-term investing feels boring, so you trade for quick wins. Saving feels like missing out, so you spend to feel alive. Starting a business feels uncertain, so you cling to familiar misery. You can't let emotions run the show. They were designed to inform, not to lead. That's where the shift happens. Start treating emotions like data, not commands. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Is it real or imagined? When impatience creeps in, ask, what am I rushing toward? Am I trading speed for quality? When envy hits, ask, what am I projecting onto someone else that I'm not building for myself? These questions don't make the emotion go away, but they put you back in charge. Now let's make it practical. Here are 5 rules to build emotional discipline as you build wealth. Have a no-reaction window. Before you make any financial decision, whether it's quitting something, investing, or spending, give yourself a 24-hour window. Let the emotions settle. Then act. Use routines as anchors. When things get chaotic, your routines keep you grounded. Morning walks, budgeting Fridays, weekly reviews. These small habits reduce overwhelm and give your brain structure. Build your tolerance for discomfort. Most people quit because they feel uncomfortable, not because the path stopped working. Learn to sit with discomfort. It's temporary. Your growth isn't. Limit emotional exposure. The more content you consume that triggers comparison or fear, the less focused you become. Follow creators who teach, not just flex. Cut out noise that makes you feel behind. Keep a wins journal. Every time you handle a situation well, log it. Remind yourself of the mindset shifts you've already made. Progress is emotional fuel. Because here's the reality. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel confident. You won't always feel certain. But if you've trained yourself to keep going despite that, you've already outpaced most people. Remember, wealth is boring at first. Progress is invisible at first. Discipline looks like nothing is happening until everything changes. That's why emotional mastery is so important. You won't need hype. You won't need validation. You'll move forward because that's who you are now. This is how you become unshakable. Not just financially, but mentally. You'll stop reacting like someone who's desperate to escape a situation and start responding like someone who's building something that lasts. This is emotional wealth, and it comes before financial wealth. Because when your emotions are stable, your energy compounds, your clarity returns, your decisions align. And that's when you stop making moves from panic and start making moves from power. And the final step will bring everything together and show you how to use everything you've built to create a life where wealth becomes inevitable. By now, you've heard the mindset shifts. You've seen the behaviors that keep people broke. You've been introduced to new habits that build freedom. At this point, you've done the hard part. Now comes the step that most people ignore. You need to design a system. One that works even when your emotions don't. One that keeps you moving even when you're tired, bored, or overwhelmed. One that makes wealth inevitable. Because motivation fades, memory slips, and even strong people drift without structure. That's why systems matter. Think of it this way. A goal says, I want to build wealth. A system says, every morning at 7 a.m., I do X. Every Friday, I review Y. Every month, I allocate Z. Systems break goals down into daily movement. They don't rely on how you feel. They rely on what you do, consistently. And here's the best part. Once your system is in place, momentum takes over. Progress becomes automatic, and confidence compounds. Let's build yours right now. There are 4 key pillars to a personal wealth system. 1. Income engine. This is your core skill or business that generates income. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I can focus on that will raise my earnings ceiling? Is it developing a high-income skill like copywriting, editing, or coding? Is it offering a valuable service with recurring clients? Is it building a business that can grow? You need one primary engine, not 5 side hustles, not 50 ideas, just one that you double down on. 2. Wealth allocation plan. Once you earn, you need to allocate with purpose. This is where most people fall apart. They make money and then lose it to lifestyle inflation, poor spending, or random investments. Instead, set up fixed percentage allocations. X% to long-term investing, stocks, real estate, etc. X% to a personal emergency fund. X% to reinvest in your income engine, courses, tools, mentorship. X% to guilt-free spending. Yes, you need joy too. Make this automatic. The more hands off your system, the better it works. 3. Weekly review ritual. Every week, carve out 30 minutes to sit with your system. Did you hit your income targets? Are you sticking to your allocations? Are you distracted by new opportunities that don't align with your plan? This habit keeps you honest. It removes blind spots, and it builds a feedback loop of awareness and growth. 4. Identity alignment. This is the invisible force behind your system. If you don't believe you're someone who builds wealth, you'll sabotage the system the moment it gets boring, uncomfortable, or slow. So you must reinforce the identity of a builder. Start every day by asking, what would a wealthy, disciplined version of me do today? Track your progress visually, not just financially, but emotionally. Surround yourself with content and people that remind you who you're becoming. This creates internal congruence. You stop trying to change. You simply live as the person who already values discipline, clarity, and growth. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Even the best system will fail if you abandon it the moment it doesn't feel exciting. That's why the final rule is this. Let boring be your superpower. Wealth isn't built by novelty. It's built by repetition. Quiet, consistent, daily actions that stack until the results become undeniable. Reviewing your finances when no one's watching. Saying no to random expenses for the 10th time this month. Creating instead of consuming. Following your plan, especially when it feels slow. This is how you turn the invisible into the inevitable. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Because a consistent system, even an imperfect one, beats explosive effort followed by collapse every time. So here's your challenge. Take 1 hour this week and build your system. Put it on paper. Make it simple. Make it trackable. And make it yours. Don't wait until everything's perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Because the truth is, you don't need luck. You don't need a secret. You just need a system and the decision to commit to it. If this video helped bring clarity to your journey, hit the subscribe button. This isn't just another motivational channel. It's a space for people who are building real wealth from the ground up, quietly, steadily, on their own terms. And if you want to stay aligned, watch the next video in the playlist. Your system is just the beginning.